Alright, finally posting some medium gameplay. So yeah, did a couple light videos, did the last one with a solid heavy game. Haven't showed any medium stuff this season on YouTube side, I think. Yeah, don't think I have yet. So I had this really crazy game running medium with two heavy teammates last night. That's the game we're watching, running the AK, classic movement medium setup. Got the AK, heal beam, zipline, jump pad, defib, all that standard stuff. But yeah, got lucky here with the rare Xbox lobby. I play with crossplay on, but obviously there's people that play with crossplay off, and I'm solo queuing here, and they have to fill those lobbies. So I'm actually curious, like, how many people in this lobby like have crossplay turned off, because I'm pretty sure the reason why these lobbies exist is because like certainly some of them do. But I don't have it turned off, and I still get put in these lobbies. If I had to guess, like 1 out of every 5 games, 6 games maybe that I solo queue, like something like that. So yeah, I'm curious. I wish I knew like how many of these people had it turned off, because again, like I'd assume that's why these lobbies get formed. But anyways, so yeah, it's a rare Xbox lobby. They do play differently than the crossplay ones, that's for sure. Yeah, are they easier on average? I'd say so. But honestly, I think the big difference is the meta. Like the crossplay lobbies, there's so much more light. There's so much more light. Like I feel like the triple light, double light type stuff, I feel like I see that not nearly as frequently in the Xbox lobbies. It's just not as much of an occurrence. And then like what people use too. Like for example, I feel like I almost never see the glitch traps in the Xbox lobbies, but in crossplay lobbies it's like very, very common. I still haven't really messed around with them that much this season, but in those lobbies it's very common. I feel like I see those all the time. It's pretty rare in one of those lobbies that I don't see them at this point. Like that's how freaking popular they are now. Yeah, but anyways, I wanted to focus on medium a bit because I've talked about like new stuff that Light has gotten, and then not just like with actual new season content, but also like stuff that got updated, buffed, nerfed, whatever. Done that with light, done that with heavy. Haven't really done it with medium. And the truth is, part of the reason why is because medium hasn't really had too much change. So as far as like content-wise, medium did not get any gadget or specialization in this season. That could be because medium, like in a way, kind of technically got 2 last season. Which in reality it was really 1. It's technically 2 because the recon sense got replaced with the DMAT. But if you want to look at it that way, you could also say they got 1 because again it was like a replaced ability. It wasn't like they added another spec; they were just replacing 1. And then there was also the what is it, the reshaper, whatever that is, that gadget too. But yeah, nothing on the gadget or specialization side for medium this season. And then weapon wise, just the dual blades. And the dual blades, I think people have been pretty critical of the melee weapons all around. So not just the dual blades, but the spear. And I think I see a lot of people prefer the sledgehammer on heavy over the spear too. Yeah, I think the spear is actually like not that bad. But the dual blades are definitely kind of weird and probably not very good. Like the left trigger, like being able to block bullets ability idea of it is like cool. But in practice, it's not that crazy. It's not that good generally, and it doesn't like do the most damage either. So I haven't really enjoyed using it. I'm not really a melee enjoyer, anyways. So yeah, so not gonna have any like dual blade gameplay anytime soon. I think I've hardly used them. So what is there to be excited about with medium, since there hasn't been much changes to anything? If I want to say, I think the AK received a slight buff, if I recall correctly. I don't know the patch notes open on the side. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I feel like it did. The one that I do remember for sure though is the FAMAS. Got some decent buffs. The FAMAS got a damage buff, and then also like the recoil got improved a bit. And I want to talk about the balance between the ARs in this one. So even though medium like hasn't had a lot done to it in this season, I'm still having a lot of fun with medium, and I still think there's a good variety here. And I think medium probably has like one of the best weapon balances of any of the classes right now, actually. So as far as the ARs go, I think the AK is my go-to, but honestly I think the AK and the FCAR are both pretty good, and I think it's mostly like a preference thing. They have their own pros and cons. I like the AK now because the AK has the more damage per bullet, or not damage per bullet, sorry, damage per magazine. You've got more damage in the whole mag, and I find that pretty useful. Now, the FCAR does have, in my opinion, a nicer recoil pattern. The AK, yes, on the later half of the spray has like no recoil, but the beginning of the AK spray actually has pretty heavy kick. And I think that's kind of, you know, that's generally the most important part of a gunfight is those early shots, so that's a pretty big downside to the AK. But once you get used to it, it's not too bad. And having that extra damage per mag is really nice for running heal beam and for switching between like healing and fighting and doing that constantly. It's really nice for that, so I think that's really useful about the AK. So yeah, so for those reasons, just like having all that damage in the mag and just consistent damage output, I really like the AK, but I think the FCAR is still really good. And on certain days, I'll run it and I'll still really enjoy it. And then I honestly think the FAMAS is not bad either. I do think the FAMAS is still the worst of the 3 ARs, but I think it's usable now, and I do like using it, and I do actually use it from time to time and switch things up with it. And it's in a decent spot. I can maybe use a little more help, but I think the balance between the 3 ARs is like pretty good right now. And then also you have the model, and the model is actually arguably like the best weapon that medium has access to. But the thing with the model though is that it's the most skill-based gun, I'd say. Like the model, if you miss your shots, it's obviously not going to do anything. It's going to be like really rough. But if you're pretty consistent with your aim and you're hitting your shots, you're getting those big damage hits. I would say it's the best medium weapon. I'd say it's got that most damage output, and you can do some crazy things with the model. So yeah, like there are other weapons, like again, I don't really care for like the melee weapons or whatever. And then there's the revolver. I think the revolver can be good, but personally I don't like it either. But the balance between like the 3 ARs and the model I think is really good. And I like that medium has those like 4 options that I all think are like pretty valid. Whereas for a lot of the other classes right now, it's like 2, maybe 3. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. So I'm enjoying medium. I'm enjoying the variety with playing medium. And I think it's really important for keeping your team alive as well. I think having a medium on beam and defib is like a must if you want to be competitive, especially in this team comp that I'm playing here, double heavy. So still having a lot of fun with medium. Still think medium is a really important class. And yeah, I think that this comp, by the way, is probably the best still. Even with light getting better. Oh, I was going to mention, I was trying to think of it. Medium also, an underrated aspect too. They reduced the health regen, the time for the health regen on light from like 10 seconds to like 7 seconds. That was a big update in this season. But an underrated one is they also did that for medium. Medium is now 9 seconds on the regen compared to heavies starts after 10 seconds, I believe, which isn't a huge difference, and lights is still a lot better. It's not a huge difference, but it is something to note, and it is something that, you know, gives medium a little bit of a buff on like heavy in particular. So something to keep in mind. It's one of those things that like you probably don't notice it, but it definitely makes a difference, and it definitely helps out. But anyways, yeah, back to the team comp. I think this team comp that we're running in this gameplay is actually like still the best team comp for the season, specifically for getting large sums of money. And World Tour, that's the focus, right? That's the focus, is you want to go big, you want to try to get as much money as possible. And in this gameplay, it can lead to some pretty exciting games. My teammates were just down with that, and I was just like, all right, bet, like I'll follow you guys up, I'll do whatever. They were just literally doubling it every time, and we're just playing around, you know, I think my teammates were running like double melee, and I was just like putting in shots and trying to keep them alive, and we'd play near the point. And it's pretty hard to deal with. And I think double heavy is still really good. It's just, the defensive options are very nice, but then those defensive options are also really good for offense too, like for retaking cash outs as well. And then as long as you pair it with the medium, with the heal ability, with the defib, and then honestly, like most importantly, the movement, having the movement on medium is really important for double heavy comp. It's just the best for going for these like doubled cash outs and these late cash outs and getting those large sums of money. And when things go well, they go really well. And you can have games like this where, I mean, I think I'm already like spoiling it in the thumbnail probably, but we're going to get this last cash out and we're going to absolutely cook this lobby and get a flat 115k, which is my record for money in a round on the season. I think I had my record for money in a tourney with these guys as well. which was like, it ended up being like 170k or something like that. And the unfortunate thing is we actually choked a couple in the first round. Like the first round we only got through with like 29k or something like that. And honestly, it should have been like at least 70. So it could have been crazy. It could have been like a 200k tourney total, which is insane. Like if you play this season, you know that's a lot. Like that's a lot. And you could do that type of stuff with double heavy. So there you go. Gonna round out this gameplay. I'm enjoying medium this season still, even though it didn't have as much new stuff. And yeah, I'm having a good time with it. I don't know what we're gonna do next. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you for the next video.